It has seemed that way at times. The Melbourne Storm sitting on top of the NRL ladder, coming back to Brookvale. For the first time since round 25 last year, it was dubbed the Battle of Brookvale, and Melbourne return. At the top of the tree, 11 wins and 2 losses. Coming here tonight, the Manly Sea Eagles, 8 wins and 5 losses, currently in 8th position. That can move as high as 4th with a victory against this side as they enter Brookvale Oval here tonight. It's a reshuffled lineup with Billy Slater out of the team. We're waiting to see what happens with the fullback position. Matt Duffy has been listed to start there. There's a big chance that Gareth Widdop might move back to fullback, and that could see Cameron Smith play plenty of time in the halves tonight.
Yeah, they're an adaptable football side, the Melbourne Storm. They're multi-skilled, a lot of their players. But the loss of Billy Slater is a massive one for the Melbourne Storm as Manly leave their dressing sheds. Glenn Stewart, I'm sure he'd be looking for a big performance tonight in front of his home fans. And the personality player, Georgie Rose, for the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. And Jamie Lyon leads them out onto the pitch for what promises to be a fantastic clash.
They have a good record here on Monday Night Football. Won 7 of 10, including their past 3. They've been dominant in those victories against the Raiders, the Eels and the Panthers. Daly Cherry Evans, he has re-signed in 2012 to remain at the club. Likewise, Kieran Foran, his partner in the halves, and they are set for a run in the second half of the season towards another finals appearance. Jason King is back tonight. He'd be relishing the prospect of going head-to-head with perhaps their nemesis over the past 6 or 7 seasons of rugby league.
Okay.
Cameron Smith, back from Origin, game 2 with Queensland for this one tonight. Tony Archer blows time on, and it will be Manly who get first possession here tonight. Foran with the kickoff, and he gives it off to Brent Kite, who brings it out to Jason Riles, and also Ryan Hinchcliffe. Riles, as we mentioned in the pre-game show, having re-signed for another season in 2013 with Melbourne. Watmo working it up to the 30-metre line for Manly in this opening set of 6. Ballon at dummy half. Comes to Cherry Evans, a shift early on. Stewart turns it back on the inside here for Lyon. Half a chance immediately here for the home side as they go into Melbourne territory. Ballon goes across to Foran. He gives it to King. What an opening set of 6 this is for Manly. A chance for an attacking kick at the back end of this set. But Foran to go to the line. He goes out the back to Stewart. They created something on the far side for Farre to put a kick in. It needs to sit down. It'll go just dead, but a statement early on from the Sea Eagles.
Enterprising set of 6 by Manly. They tested the Melbourne Storm on the right edge, and they shifted it over to the left side of the field. Melbourne do play a little bit compressed with their defensive line. I like what I see from Manly.
And the spread to the right-hand side had Melbourne scurrying to cover. Bromwich to play it just inside the Melbourne 40. Cronk go across to Manu, who's missed plenty of game time this year with an ankle injury. He's in the side here tonight. He was the 19th man, but he gets a run now. A mix-up there in behind Hinchcliffe was Cooper Cronk, who's eventually tackled at the halfway line, and it is, as suggested, Ryan Hinchcliffe playing dummy half for Melbourne, with Cameron Smith playing in the halves and Gareth Widdop playing the Billy Slater role as the fullback for Melbourne here tonight. A reshuffle by Craig Bellamy, a good kick. Put plenty of pressure there on Michael Oldfield, who made a nice catch. Jamie Lyon working it just beyond the 20. It'll be interesting to see, Laurie, if Cameron Smith stays in the halves for the entire 80 here tonight.
Yeah, I think Craig Bellamy would like to keep him out there in the halves, but he'll just see how this game progresses.
Turning Watmo underneath. 2 weeks ago today, had an injection, cortisone injection for that neck problem he's been carrying for a number of weeks now. He got through Origin 1, or Origin 2 rather okay, as they go across to Farre. Takes him inside the Melbourne 40. A chance again for Manly to put something on at the back end of this set. Not much pressure there on Foran. Melbourne, no real line speed to speak of. Widdop standing underneath it. He is a tremendous athlete and makes a nice catch just outside his own 10-metre line. So work it forward. Justin O'Neill stopped there, a gain of about 5 or so only, met there by Harrison and also King. Spread from Melbourne. 2 passes wide to Hoffman, but Lyon was up in his face. So was Glenn Stewart. Hoffman had the ball poised, thinking about an offload, but wisely hung on to it. Now Bromwich. There's something in these next couple of plays. They've used up 4, and they're still just 25 out from their own line. Hinchcliffe coming to this left-hand side. Some significant contact there on Lowry. And it's Cameron Smith from the short side who will kick. But he'll pick out Brett Stewart on the full, who had to track across at speed to get to it on the full, but did so. And he brings it back and almost gets away there from Nielsen. The local fans thought there might have been a bit of high contact. They will get a penalty. But it's for the work on the ground after the tackle was completed.
And it's also the work from Brett Stewart to get the football on the full and chew up as many metres as he possibly could. And the disadvantage that Melbourne have tonight with no Cameron Smith in the dummy half is his ability to kick from dummy half. So it'll make him an easier target for the Manly defenders to apply pressure to as far as his kicking game's concerned.
Only Cherry Evans giving it off to Watmough, who will play it here just outside the Melbourne 20. Not the best of the field position in the opening 5 minutes to begin with here tonight, Manly. Hype to play it for Ballon. Goes across to forward, out the back. Harrison coming in to shut it down quickly. Duffy got there, and it will be a knock-on and 6 more tackles from the scrum feed coming up for the Sea Eagles.
Well, they're fancying their chances down this left side of the field now, and it's a number of times they've caught Melbourne short, and Duffy, he put his eggs into one basket, he attacked Harrison, he knocked it down, but Manly are keen to get to the fringes.
In, Todd.
Really testing out the outside men. This Melbourne Storm defensive line. Anthony Quinn had his issues against the Tigers last week on the other side of the field, which is back towards where they come now. From Cherry Evans to Brett Stewart. Glenn was trying to get there in time to wrap around the back. Here he is at first receiver now. Taking it inside the 10. Going to Jamie Lyon. And Nielsen comes up with the help of Hoffman. They play it 7 metres away. Cherry Evans going to King, trying to back his way in between Riles and also Hinchcliffe. Now Ballon quickly out of dummy half, going to Foran. Quick hand, Stewart goes away to Farrow, shrugs away from Duffy's attempted tackle. And in the end, he got the ball away as he was going to ground to Tafua. He's still just 4 metres away from the Melbourne line. Farrow goes back to Foran. Again, they test them out on the edges. Ballon back in the middle of the field. A long ball. It sits up here for Oldfield, who knocked it on.
Well, it's great defence, Warren, by Melbourne, because they're really challenging Manly to go around them. And their wingers are jamming up and in, and they're inviting Manly, to go one pass wider to try and get them down a sideline. So they're forcing their ball players. And this will be a great examination tonight for Dane Nielsen, coming up against the best right attack in the competition. He's looking to press his claims as a left centre for Queensland. So if we can have a strong game tonight, that will, I'm sure, will give the Queensland selectors confidence to select him.
Melbourne again to work it away from their own end, and Riles playing. Hinchcliffe still there at dummy. Cronk back on the inside for Manu. They're up in his face. Watmough is off his line with some speed. In the hands of Lowry. They bring it back to Bromwich. Try and work it up towards the halfway line. 4 plays gone. Goes back to Cronk. Out the back here. Lovely ball from Widdop. Away to O'Neill. He beats Tafua. Got away from Stewart. O'Neill still going. He will pass it back to Lowry. And against the run of play, Melbourne go 80 metres and score against Manly.
Oh, some wonderful attack there by the Melbourne Storm. Justin O'Neill. Isn't he going to be a player? They created numbers on their right side. They were just short, and Justin O'Neill, they took advantage, Melbourne, of Tafua being back, waiting for the kick, and Cooper Cronk summed it up. He realised he had numbers on his right, and they elected to run the ball. There's a sweep play there from Widdop, and look at the speed from Justin O'Neill, the strength to push away from Brett Stewart, which is not easy, and then to turn to his right and pass to Todd Lowry, pushing up in support. That is a great hit back by Melbourne, and we say it every time we watch them run round. They absorb punishment better than most. They don't panic, and then they can strike, and they can strike from anywhere on the field. And I'm sure this is shell-shock Manly, given the start that they've had. They have looked the most likely to score. They've had the majority of possession, and they find themselves 4 behind.
Which might be 6 in a moment if Cameron Smith can convert from 10 metres in from the touchline. What a ball from Gareth Widdop. It was Slater-like, the catch and pass to O'Neill, who had room to move with Manly fading back, thinking there was a kick coming from Cooper Cronk on that side of the field. Playing in the halves tonight, the skipper. Chance to make it a terrific opening in just their 3rd set of 6. Got a long way to score. He hooks it back, and Cameron Smith converts to make it 6-0. Melbourne weathering an early onslaught from Manly, and then coming back with a classic play down that right-hand side of the field.
Well, if the first 10 minutes is any indication, this is going to develop into a magic game of football. Both teams are prepared to use the football.
First time he scored in 12 games against Manly, Todd Lowry. The kickoff goes down to Gareth Widdop. And Riles it is who begins this set of 6. 6-0 Melbourne. The locals. Bromwich working it forward, running towards Cherry Evans, who'll be a target on this side of the field for the forwards to run at. No question, as Hoffman heads towards Lyon and also Glenn Stewart. Play it just outside the 30. Hinchcliffe goes to Cameron Smith, out the back. Lowry to Riles, plenty of ball movement. It is certainly catching in the NRL. Teams following the lead of the Bulldogs. And the Storm do play the Bulldogs in Mackay next Sunday afternoon. What an encounter that will be. Stewart under pressure, couldn't wait anymore and will be trapped.
Stay there, Jared.
A terrific set of 6 off the back of points. A goal line dropout coming up.
Oh, very impressive from Melbourne. They're playing the ball at a fast speed. Manly cannot dominate at the ruck. And Cooper Cronk, he sums it up so well. A fast play the ball. Let's get it out of our end. Brett Stewart was hoping that it was going to roll dead in goal. It didn't.
Brent.
And Matt Duffy, a tremendous chase.
Daly, before the line, mate.
They look sharp with the ball, Melbourne, as well as Manly.
Cherry Evans with the goal line dropout. It will be taken at the halfway line by Cronk. And it's Riles to bring it back as he works it up towards Matt Ballin and also Glenn Stewart. A big set of 6 defensively coming up for Manly right here. Hoffman off that left foot. A sneak in between the defenders either side of the play the ball. Hinchcliffe will quickly go to Cameron Smith as he floats to the line and then gives it to Cronk. A chance! Manu into a hole. Dragged down by Harrison. They look dangerous again on that right-hand side as Cronk links up with Cameron Smith, taking them on himself, spinning back to Hinchcliffe. Cronk rubbering, hands of glue from Kieran Foran to take a grubber at his bootlaces.
Yeah, terrific work there by Kieran Foran. He needed to come up with that take too. They were under assault there, Manly. They did well not to concede points.
Manu was almost into an enormous hole. Now Matt Ballin does well to hang on to a ball fired out the back by Harrison. And Brent Kite will play it. So inside his own 3. They've used up 3 as Watmo runs a long way before he dumps the ball out the back, and the tacklers put Cherry Evans under pressure. And they lost 15 metres on the play. Now they're in trouble with their kick. Lyon trying to get to the edges. They do well to stay in the field of play, he does, but now they'll be kicking from deep in their own territory and up against the sideline, and it was Glenn Stewart who got handed the ball, and they said, kick it, my boy, kick it as far as you can. Here's Melbourne back at the halfway line.
Well, they lost their way in that set of 6. First, it was a bad pass. Daly Cherry Evans trying to get on it, then line to the sideline, 5th tackle. And now they've given away a penalty.
Over there, slow, and so's this. Get up, Kieran. You got to get off him, mate.
They're up for the challenge, Melbourne. Coming here tonight. We're all expecting them to struggle without Billy Slater, but they haven't missed a beat so far.
Cameron Smith already in the opening 13 minutes of this one, showing not only is he a great dummy half, perhaps one of the best we've ever seen, he's also a more than handy half as well, playing this left-hand side of the field. And the role usually filled by Gareth Widdop, who's back at full-back tonight. Cronk to link up with Riles to take it towards the uprights. And they'll play it here just 12 metres out from the Manly line. Hinchcliffe. Give it off to Lowry, the try scorer, wrapping around Hinchcliffe out the back to Cronk. But up in his face, Kieran Foran making a strong tackle, 10 away from the line. Hinchcliffe feeds it across for Riles. Smith holds it up. A floating ball over the top. Nielsen tapping it on for Quinn. Manly recover, and Lyon slides across with the help of Oldfield to stop him 5 away. Play number 5, Smith to the line, showing it going straight past Anthony Watmoe. He was looking further afield for a pass from Smith. He beat him easily, and Melbourne are in again to make it 10-0.
Well, Cameron Smith playing as a first receiver. You mentioned it was. Not looking out of place, showing the ball, going straight through Anthony Watmoe. He'd be disappointed with that. And Manly this season, when they've been under siege, they've upped the tempo in defence. And Kieran Foran early in that set started to get that aggressive mentality. But Cameron Smith just strolled through an attempted tackle by Watmoe. And I think they've just stunned this crowd. They are silent.
They are deathly silent here at Brookvale Oval. You could hear a pin drop in the grandstand at the moment. Back-to-back tries. Lowry and Smith scoring. There's a few waves and a couple of smiles from the Manly fans. It'll take a lot to get them animated, though. At the moment, they've been rocked back onto their heels after having a couple of chances to put some pressure on Melbourne early in the game. It's been all Melbourne since then. From right in front to convert his own try. Cameron makes it 12 points to 0. An incredible scoreline here already at Brookvale Oval. And Melbourne showing, while they've won 11 and lost just 2 games so far this season.
Well, they're converting their opportunities. Even share of possession. They haven't missed that many tackles, Manly. But it's just Melbourne's ability when they make half a break to convert it into points, or a missed tackle make the opposition pay.
The kickoff goes down to Cooper Cronk. Riles will bring it out to the 20. They're running hard now, aren't they, these Melbourne Storm forwards? 12-0 scoreline here. Now Widdop kicking it back to the middle. Bromwich trying to stay alive with it. Gives it out the back to Hinchcliffe. They're picking up big meters again from their own end, and they're doing it through ball movement. Not wanting to die in the tackle, hoping to keep it alive, and some second phase play going. Riles puts his hand up for a second carry in the first 3 plays in this set. Now Lowry taking it to the line, running towards Glenn Stewart and also King. Almost back though at the halfway line. And here's Cameron Smith once again, turning it underneath for Hoffman. Well read though by Glenn Stewart. Getting out from marker. Did well to also stop Hoffman from offloading. And now Cronk will kick it high. A floating ball with little spin on it. Well taken by Brett Stewart in the end at his own goal line. Goodness knows what it was going to do had he let that one bounce, but he brings it back. And again, Manly had to do it the hard way from inside their own 20. Take it forward through Michael Oldfield. If you like a good stat, what about this one? Cameron Smith has scored in 31 games in his career with Melbourne, a try that is. And when he has scored a try, they've won 4 but 3 of those 31 games. What's to like about what he's done so far here tonight? King taking it up towards the halfway line, stopped there by Manu and also Lowry. And they'll come back for Cherry Evans. The previous possession off which Melbourne scored all began with that hurried kick, the rush kick by Glenn Stewart. And the pressure eventually told. Here is Widdop spinning in the tackle of Lyon. And luckily he wasn't thinking about a pass to Duffy because Glenn Stewart was there. Had he done so, now Quinn spinning away from the tackle of Cherry Evans, wrapped up by Oldfield and also Kite. Cameron Smith getting back to play a bit of dummy half here. Now Lowry it is. His turn to stay alive with it. Give it off to Hinchcliffe. Run towards Cherry Evans and also Lyon. And they're doing it pretty comfortably from their own end. Melbourne in this one tonight. Hoffman. Hinchcliffe gets back to dummy half now. They go towards Cronk. They're set to the right-hand side. Bromwich, though, sees both Foran and Harrison up in his face quickly. And shut it down before they can spread it on towards Cronk. A pass which put Smith under pressure from Ballon there, but he still was able to reel it in and get a kick away in the face of the defence coming towards him. It's a touch of class once again from the Australian captain.
Well, he was under pressure, but he still had time. That's a sign of a classy player.
Here's Brett Stewart to play it outside the man. Before and taking them on off that left foot. And the trademark of his career, the way he takes it to the line and challenges the defence over and over. Now Glenn Stewart going wide for Oldfield. Right up as though in front of him. And Manly have it. First time in a long time, it seems, back inside Melbourne's 30. George Rose is out there and gets a touch immediately. They'll have one more play here from 20 metres away, and Ballon feeds it back for Cherry Evans to Grubber. It puts Widdop under pressure. He was able to get to ground pretty quickly. He realised that he'd taken them on, that both Lyon and Stewart had a fair chance to drive him back into the in-goal area. Yeah,
well, they've got Melbourne caught in a corner. Watch for Manly to up the tempo. Melbourne getting out of trouble and looking to get to Daly Cherry Evans. That's been the pattern of this first half when Melbourne are working it out of their own half.
Smith giving it to Vave, who is out there now. A couple of changes made by either coach. Bromwich still out there. Widdop was pushing up, and so was Lowry. Cameron Smith has some room to move, and nobody at marker gets a free kick. And as a result, he's able to hook it away from Brett Stewart. It'll bounce down, eventually picked up here inside his own 10 by Tafua. And he'll bring it back on a good chase by Melbourne. They've got Manly just outside their own 20.
And it just shows you the importance of support play. When you push forward, it makes it difficult for the opposition to gang tackle you. And they're winning the battle of the collisions here in the Storm. Fast play the balls. And it's so important to win that.
Met by Lowry. That's got the crowd finding their voice for the first time in a long while. Now Watno off a fast play the ball. Goes back to Cherry Evans. He'll play it here just outside the 40. And now they're saying Anthony Watno resented the tackle on the ground there by Vave, saying it was something like a crosser tackle. Farre goes across to Tafua. Cronk's got in trouble. Back on the inside for Farre. Dragged down by O'Neill just 4 metres out from the Melbourne line. Tafua goes back to Foran. Harrison gets away from Bromwich. Back to his feet. Eventually taken down by Hinchcliffe. Tackles up their sleeve. There is Kite taking them on. Running to Vave. Still just a metre away. Ballon goes from dummy half. He didn't get there. Tackled by Bromwich, who saves a try for the Storm. Now Watno, who got it going. Goes one way, comes back the other. Nothing doing. But they'll get a penalty.
Wait, Anthony, wait. I'm letting him get back. So wait till I'm out of there.
The Melbourne Storm up inside the 10 on that right-hand side of their defensive line. And Manly, unsurprisingly, will tap it and go quickly at them through Kite. Chance to hit back. After the 2 tries in the opening quarter of an hour here tonight as Ballon goes to Cherry Evans. Brett Stewart set upon there by Nielsen. They like to fire in from the outside Melbourne. They did it effectively right there as Rose bumps it forward. 4 men trying to stop him, and eventually they do. Midway through this set of 6, Ballon looking for options. He comes back to Cherry Evans. Glenn Stewart up in his face again. A magic ball. Brett Stewart for the line. On his back.
just check grounding, mate.
What about the ball from Glenn Stewart?
Well, he's got all the tricks, Glenn Stewart. It's a dynamic right edge for Manly. The combination that they've developed over time with Jamie Lyon and his brother Brett. Oh, I don't know whether he's grounded that.
Not on the first attempt, that's for sure. Coming across, Hoffman got his knee under the ball. Still no contact with the turf as yet, as far as we could see. And then Hoffman ends up with the ball. No touch there, and still no touch there.
Well, this will be a massive play by Ryan Hoffman if he's denied Brett Stewart this 4-pointer. He's got such a terrific strike rate here at Brookvale Oval. And has he denied him a try?
Looking for try number 60 at Brookvale in just his 66th game. He'll be denied, though.
Play the ball.
What defence once again from Melbourne.
Well, it's scramble defence, and that's what they do well.
It's tackle
when their line's broken.
Play 4.
They get a body
Time on, mate.
over to make a tackle.
They're going to say the tackle was completed in the in-goal area despite Hoffman ending up with it. So it's Glenn Stewart on play number 5 here, giving it to Foran. He's just 13 metres out from the Melbourne line. Ballon waits at dummy half, and he goes to Cherry Evans, who grubbers. It's well weighted. Duffy has to play it. There's nothing doing there. And Manly are responding to the challenge.
Yeah, well controlled end of their set by Cherry Evans. He didn't panic. He rolled it in the in goal. And I think they can get a result out of a little kick in behind the line out here on this left side of the field. In particular with Anthony Quinn and Dane Nielsen. They're really pushing up hard. I'll be looking for a Glenn Stewart maybe to roll it along the ground for Oldfield.
Quinn and Nielsen, as you say, love to jam in and try and shut it down before it gets to the edges. Rose brings it back. He runs into Hinchcliffe there and also Lowry. Brian Norrie is out there now for Jesse Bromwich. As Rose eventually plays it for Ballon to give it to Watmo. Looking to make up for the defensive error which allowed Cameron Smith to score. Another slow play of the ball here. And they'll tap it again. A welter of possession suddenly for Manly inside the Melbourne 20. They've had 14 tackles already, make it 15 now for Manly at this end of the field. Lussick is out there. Cherry Evans going to the line, throwing a dummy, not fallen for by Smith nor Hoffman. He might have hurt himself here, Cherry Evans. A bad way, clutches at his neck.
1-2, mate, 1-2.
And there was concern straight away from both Ryan Hoffman and Cameron Smith when they realised that Cherry Evans was in some discomfort.
Well, he takes the ball to the line there, Cherry Evans, and I think it's a head clash there with Cameron Smith. And his head gets caught in an awkward position with Ryan Hoffman in over the top. I know at times they have been deemed as crusher tackles, but I don't think he had too much. I think he's just caught in an awkward position. Unless he squeezed him up there at the end. If he squeezed him up, he'll be in some trouble. But the initial pressure on the back of the head, I thought was okay. I thought it was just a position that he ended up in.
Wait for the whistle, Dally.
Cherry Evans saying he's okay to continue. Remember round 25 here last year, and David Williams injuring his neck and being held there by Billy Slater. It's play on for the moment. Cherry Evans seems to be okay. Brett Stewart angling towards the left-hand side, coming back. They'll wrap him up about 3 metres away. The pressure continues from Manly. Watmo gets a short ball there from Ballon. Nothing doing either for Harrison. Ballon, quick potato stuff it is, across to Lussick, who tries to fend away from Smith, and he'd beaten him as well before Nielsen came in to wrap him up. Now Ballon, forward to the right-hand side, off the hands of Stewart. Lyon knocked it on. He couldn't hang on to it. Some short passing there on either side of the field. And in the end, Melbourne once again are able to absorb all the pressure and hang on.
And they defend their line better than most teams in the competition because they push up aggressively. They're not passive at all. I'd still like to see Manly put that little kick in behind the line. A couple of times Widdop is getting caught at the post and there's a big space in behind.
Here is Matt Duffy as Melbourne work it away from their own end, dragged back to his own 10-metre line. Norrie hit a meeting was Kieran Foran. Also Darcy Lussick, who in the lead up to this game signed with Parramatta for the next 3 seasons. Joins Tony Williams and Dean Farray and leaving the club at the end of this season. Now a penalty. The last thing that Manly needed, after having so much pressure at this end of the field and forcing Melbourne to work it away from inside their own 20. They give them a relieving penalty, and Cameron Smith's kick for the line is a good one. And here come Melbourne. Back at them again, looking for try number 3. Norrie it is who gets this set of 6 going. Stopped there by Harrison and also Rose. Still Hinchcliffe at dummy half. Smith floating on this left-hand side, waiting for a play. Vave's lost the ball here. It wasn't stripped out, they're going to say. They're going to say he lost it in perhaps trying to pass it or get his arms free. And that's a real let-off for Manly.
Yeah, and that's their first error of the game. Vave carrying the ball forward, trying to offload the ball there. He loses it. And it's been a high-quality game, and Melbourne are showing us why they are the favourites to win the competition with their goal line defence. I know their attack's been great, but their defence has been terrific when placed under pressure.
That was the first mistake that Melbourne have made in the game. They've completed 11 of 12 sets so far this evening as Harrison works it forward. Stopped there in a 3-man tackle. Norrie was involved, so was Manu, as Ballon comes back to George Rose. Plenty of carries, 5 of them now since coming off the bench. He brings it back almost to the halfway line. British play the ball, lovely pass from Foran to Brett Stewart, back on the inside, Cherry Evans, Duffy gets to him, Cherry Evans though gets there for Manly, or does he?
Hang on, I'm just checking grounding. Just checking grounding, mate.
Does he look confident, Cherry Evans? I don't know whether he does.
He almost collided with the upright as Duffy dragged him down from behind, and it might have jarred the ball loose. Coming in at the death, a Melbourne Storm player got a hand there. This will be a knock-on against Cherry Evans.
Well, that's 2 try-saving efforts from Ryan Hoffman. The first one was on Brett Stewart, and he knocks it out there. Well, does he pull it back to himself?
I think he knocked it on, if you consider that he didn't knock it on in the first occasion when Hoffman makes contact with his arm and perhaps the ball there. I think he knocks it on just there as well in trying to get it to the ground.
Well, this one may give us a better view at it. Yeah, he doesn't touch the ball there, I don't think, Ryan Hoffman. That's a knock-on.
We saw Michael Jennings take the ball out of Brent Tate's hands on Wednesday night in Origin 2, and that was a knock-on against Brent Tate.
What an effort, though, by Melbourne to get back there, but hang on, no, benefit of the doubt.
Well,
he didn't look confident, Cherry Evans, and I think Melbourne thought they'd knocked the football out. But the referee, video referee, has determined that Ryan Hoffman knocked it out and Cherry Evans just put his hand on the ball.
Paul Simpkins, video referee. So we have that situation called one way in Origin on Wednesday night and another way here tonight.
Well, it was lovely play, though, from Kieran Foran. Back on the inside to Brett Stewart. Cherry Evans was pushing up there in support. Look at him trying to get away from Duffy. Makes contact with the upright. And they felt as though they'd saved a try there, Melbourne. I was going to say, what a great effort from Ryan Hoffman. First effort on Brett Stewart earlier in the game, and then what we thought was a no try again. But they've made the call. And Manly, they needed that.
Jamie Lyon with the extra 2. Manly are on the board with almost half an hour gone here tonight. Melbourne 12, Manly 6. And shaped up as one of the games of the season. Certainly living up to the advanced billing, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Well, you look up and there's 28.5 minutes gone.
Daly Cherry Evans, his first try in 12 games. Something of a drought as Cameron Smith gets us back underway here. Kickoff goes down to Kieran Thorne. George Rose had an impact since coming off the bench. His entry into the game has coincided with a run of possession for Manly as Lussick works it forward, stopped there by Lowry. And also Vave. What a part to play in the situation last year here in what was dubbed as the Battle of Brookvale, didn't he? Darcy Lussick this time. He earns his side a penalty. Vave involved once again.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great start to the game for Vave. Dropping the football, giving away a penalty. But it was a Melbourne Storm play that got Manly back into this game. Inside ball to their fullback. Here's it to Cooper Cronk to Billy Slater. But tonight it was forward on to Brett Stewart. And Glenn Stewart carries it forward.
He's 45 metres out when he plays it. Cherry Evans giving it to Lussick. Manly a big chance to hit back and level it up. Then Stewart going up the back of line. The back of Brett. He's got Oldfield. Not much doing for him there. Melbourne solid on this left-hand side so far tonight. Oldfield playing it just outside the 20 as Lyon comes across to Cherry Evans. Watmo. He's bounced back nicely after that defensive lapse on Cameron Smith. Still just outside the 20 though as Ballon goes to Kieran Thorne. Here's Rose, a couple wide of the play the ball. Charging at them. He picked out Cooper Cronk, who did well to go low, then got some help over the top. For Ballon on the last. Cherry Evans off the body there of Cameron Smith. They're going to say not played at, and the tackle was completed.
Well, I'd like to look at this again. The Manly fans are not happy. You have to go with the referee in that situation. I thought Smith may have played at it, but we'll continue on. It was building nicely though for Manly. They need more opportunities down this end of the field.
They were looking for that kick in behind Wilson and also Quinn. Now they're going to say a forward pass. And they must be saying the pass from Cameron Smith, or was it from the dummy half? Take a look at this one again. Cameron Smith, well, that pass, well, not a great angle to judge it on, but the touch judge, right in line with it, thought it was out of the hands forward from Smith to Cronk.
Yeah, look at the completion rate and the amount of possession that Manly have had in the last 10 minutes, and this is the reason why they're starting to stage this comeback.
Chasing through. This time it's number 60. What a play off the scrum. Nobody at home for Melbourne. Beautifully weighted, and Stewart did the rest. He doesn't waste chances like that.
No, it was great work from Manly. The outside backs from the Melbourne Storm have been jamming up and in, and from a scrum there you can see the space in behind, and Brett Stewart, well, there was no one near him. And it was a great kick, a well-weighted kick from Jamie Lyon. And he's Johnny on the spot. That's his 60th try here in 65 outings. And Melbourne Storm are one of the few sides in the competition from set starts that concede tries from scrums. You know, they've only scored or had 29 scored against them, but 13 tries, have come off a set possession from a scrum.
It's a remarkable stat given how good they are at defending penalty sets of 6 in particular. They have an outstanding record there. That's a big percentage of tries conceded in the set of 6 following an opposition scrum win. Now Lyon, the man who supplied the kick. Couldn't have been weighted any better for Brett Stewart. He hooks this one back. It's a contest now and then some, isn't it? 12 apiece after 34 minutes here on Monday Night Football. Well, the crowd has certainly built up significantly since kickoff, and while they were deathly quiet earlier in the game when it was 12-0 to Melbourne, they're at full revs now, aren't they? The Brookie faithful turned up in good number. The kickoff goes down to Foran. George Rose once again. Points going with the flow of possession here tonight. Melbourne had a run of it, scored 12. Manly haven't wasted their chances in the last 10 minutes either. Tries to Cherry Evans and Brett Stewart in the space of 5 minutes. Jamie Buehler is out there now. He works it up towards the halfway line. Good meters again for Manly in this set of 6. Off the back of the try, scored by Stewart. Watmo will take it inside the Melbourne 40. This is a big set of 6 as Ballon from dummy half goes back to Foran. No real pressure on him. Duffy standing underneath it, sees Farah and Tafua coming towards him and makes a nice catch and is wrapped up there by Buehler.
Yeah, he's very good with the ball in the air, Matt Duffy. Melbourne and Craig Bellamy have responded with an interchange, and a significant one at that. Cos Jason has moved into the halfback role, and as I say, Cameron Smith's gone back to his favourite looking role.
We'll get to dummy half for the moment. We'll see how the ruck flows with Smith back in there at dummy half. And there is Cos Jason just shifting it on one wide of the play the ball to Hoffman, who plays it pretty quickly. Smith links up with Lowry. Takes it across the 40. Chance for Cronk to kick from around about the 40. But he's on it now. In fact, he chips in over the top. Brett Stewart, sensing the danger, came up quickly. Gives it off to George Tafua, who got away from one. And shrugged away from Duffy as well before Manu it is. He wraps him up 15 on his own side of half. Watmo, it's a frenetic pace suddenly, isn't it?
He's been strong, Anthony Watmo, tonight.
Here's Farah out of dummy half. Got a number of roles in the back line from Manly this season. And on the wing and the centres. Fullback also for Stewart. And now from Cherry Evans away to Glenn Stewart, who tried to pop a ball out the back to Jamie Lyon. Lost it. And Melbourne have it here on the 0 tackle. Back at the halfway line.
Glenn Stewart is injured in back play too.
There's a lot of game time in the beginning of the season after suffering a hand injury in round 1 against the Warriors, and they want time stopped here, and they'll get it as well with Melbourne on the attack. There is real concern for this injury to Glenn Stewart.
Mate, I can't do it. When he puts his arm, I don't have a choice, mate.
Well, let's hope it's not too serious.
Take a look at it once again here. Just trying to pop the ball out. One of those Gidley flick passes, if you like, and that left knee buckling under the tackle there. The body weight of the defender. Cos Jason it is coming across, trying to drag him to ground, and that's a terrible angle to go to ground, isn't it?
Yeah, and it could have huge ramifications, not only for Manly, but for New South Wales, if in fact this is serious. The doctor is out there now. Let's hope it's not an ACL, an anterior cruciate ligament, because if he sustained one of those, that is season over. It's a good sign. Into his feet.
We're going to carry him from the ground, though. We'll get an idea pretty quickly with half-time approaching. So the nature, perhaps, of the injury. Manly can be reticent with their facts at times in this situation. And he gets a round of applause from the Manly fans here, as you would expect. One of their favourite sons and such a big part of this club.
One of the best back rows in the game, if not the best back row.
Clyde Churchill medal winner from last year's grand final as well. A kick from Melbourne on the counter-attack. As play resumes, Brett Stewart has to take it out of play. That's a lovely kick, and Melbourne will have more pressure coming up here on the Manly line.
Yeah, it's how you respond to a setback, and Brett Stewart he would have been standing there watching his brother being carried from the field. But he has to put that out of his mind, and he needs to be thinking about the job at hand. The kick was put in early there by Cooper Cronk, and he got himself in a position to knock it over the sideline, but a big 3.5 minutes coming up for Manly. They've fought their way back into this game. They don't want to concede here on the stroke of half-time.
Big set of 6. Manly defending as they go on the attack, Melbourne, through Justin O'Neill. The team that's led at half-time in the last 12 matches between these two teams has won 11 of those 12 games. So this set of 6 right here of vital importance potentially for Manly. Here is Smith going to Cronk, showing it, almost ghosting his way through the line. Grabbed there by Nullavow and also Watmo. Smith from dummy half. Didn't have much going in the left-hand side as far as shape is concerned. So he takes a tackle there and burns one. Still 2 up their sleeve. 3 metres away from the line. Cronk floating across, giving it to Manu, back on the angle against the grain. Good defence. It was Stewart and also Burer who stopped him. Now Cronk chipping across to the corner. A chance for Nielsen. Hoffman had a play at it and might have knocked it forward. And it will be a 20-metre restart here for Manly.
Yeah, they're very good with their kicking game. Cooper Cronk, he was looking for Hoffman and Nielsen to contest the ball. They knocked it forward. That was a strong set of 6. And I think it was Buren Foran who made that strong tackle on Sikamanu. That's a try-saving effort on the rampage in back.
Chance here for Manly on the counter-attack from their own end. Take the lead. What a story that would be after the opening to this game when it was 12-0 to Melbourne after 15 minutes. Burer playing it for Ballon. It's back to Lussick. Charging towards them. Looked up there by Cost Jason, playing this left-hand side now. And forward. Opposite side of the field. Lovely hands from Stewart to Farrow. Back on the inside to Fua. Manly will have the lead going to half-time. What a play again on that left-hand side. They have been oh so dangerous on that edge tonight. Melbourne's right-hand side defence opens up again, and Manly, incredible, will be the leaders going to the break.
Well, they've been so good tonight at jamming, in particular their outside men. And look at this, Matt Duffy hangs back. O'Neill goes forward, but Duffy hangs back, and that allows Manly to get on the outside. And Tafua, what a very impressive start he's had to his NRL career. So if Duffy moves forward, he shuts that down on Vare. But instead he hangs back. Vare gets on the outside of Cooper Cronk, and then the lovely inside ball to Tafua. And Manly, here we were talking about them defending their line and staying strong before half-time. Well, they have gone crash, boom, wham.
On that left-hand side, Foran, Brett Stewart, Farre, and Tafua. It's a dangerous combination on the edge for Manly. It's normally the right-hand side where so many points come through. Jamie Lyon, just beside the uprights, makes it 18 points to 12. Only once this season have Melbourne conceded 20 points in a game. They've already given up 18 in this first half. They're in no hurry to get the ball back. And that'll do us for the opening 40 minutes. A lead for Manly, but it may have come at a big price with Glenn Stewart suffering what potentially could be a serious knee injury. We'll try and bring you word to the extent of that injury during the halftime break. We're going to take a quick break ourselves right now. The first half highlights right after this. There's so much more to come tonight on Monday Night Football.
Toyota means business. Now includes 2.9% comparison rate finance on 2011 build new generation Camry and 2012 build Camry Hybrid. Must end June 30.
Are you getting nabbed on home loan rates? Compared to ME Bank, Over the last 10 years, NAB customers have paid up to this much extra in interest. Commonwealth Bank customers up to this much extra. ANZ customers up to this much extra. And Westpac customers up to this much extra. ME Bank's standard variable home loan rate for industry super fund and union members has been lower than those of the big banks since we became a bank in 2001. So don't get nabbed. Switch to ME Bank today.
Tui's New presents turning a stepbrother into a mate. Start by helping him renovate. Prove you can be trusted. Show him you have a sense of humour. And it's even better if you bond over something.
That's your mum. Mate.
Tui's New, supporting mateship.
There are two kinds of people, thinkers and doers.
I think I'm a doer.
You think?
I do. I think these customers are doers too, because home's where you go to get it done.
I do think you're right.
Your local Home Timber and Hardware.
The proper hardware store.
Soon, millions of Australians receiving government payments will get additional help with their everyday expenses. An initial payment will automatically appear in your bank account from May 2012. It's the first part of the Australian Government's Household Assistance Package. This extra assistance will become a regular part of your government payment between March next year and early 2014. For more information, visit australia.gov.au. The Household Assistance Package, benefiting those who need it most.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Hog's Breath's flamin' spectacular new menu. New Hoggetisers from $5.95. New Aussie prime rib. New backyard barbecue salad and salmon. Hog's Breath's new menu. Lunch and dinner, more your taste.
Now, these aren't large tongs. This isn't a humongous knife. And this isn't a giant plate. Aha! The burgers are mini! Introducing Hungry Jack's Minis. Tasty little burgers that are so cute, they come in pairs. There's cheeseburger minis and rodeo minis. And right now, you can get a mini plus small fries and a small Coke for the mini price of $4.95. That's huge. Hungry Jack's makes it better.
Toyota means business. Now includes 2.9% comparison rate finance on 2011 build new generation Camry and 2012 build Camry Hybrid. Must end June 30.
The Battle of Brookvale 2, and well, it is not disappointing tonight. An 18-12 lead at the moment to the Manly Seagulls, but at what cost? We saw a massive injury concern there to Glenn Stewart in the first half, which could come back to hurt them tonight. They hold sway, but this has been a game all about possession, Greg Alexander.
Well, it has, and it certainly favoured the Seagulls. Look at the split in possession, 58 to the Seagulls. They got through 17 sets out of their 20. Melbourne really struggled to get the ball after around the 25-minute mark. The Seagulls dominated, and for 2 periods of 5 minutes, Melbourne really didn't touch the football. Melbourne made their first error in the 28th minute, where Varvey pushed the pass down this end of the field. From that moment on, well, Manly ran in 3 tries. Melbourne never really got out of their own end.
We know Craig Bellamy always has an ace up his sleeve, and as we have a look at the tries, he pulled it, didn't he, when they walked out onto the field with Cameron Smith playing halfback. A total reshuffle which caught Manly unawares.
It did catch Manly unaware, and we were wondering how Billy Slater would be replaced. And Matt Duffy there playing in the fullback role, and it was Billy Slater popped up on the second man phase, and they created the overlap down the short side. But Cameron Smith, we were wondering how he was going to be, whether he was going to be a catcher or a runner. Well, he's too smart for him, you know. Anthony Watmale there sliding off, and an easy try from Melbourne.
Great piece of defensive play here from Widdop and also Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, absolutely. Widdop reading that from Brett Stewart. Brett Stewart probably should have offloaded to Michael Oldfield. He was unmarked in the end, but terrific work from Ryan Hoffman to come over the top and save that effort. It looked like Melbourne's defence was going to win out for a while, but Manly just continued to build the pressure. Great inside ball from Kieran Foran to Brett Stewart.
Are we okay with this?
Well, I'm okay with it. I thought it was definitely knocked out by Ryan Hoffman, and then there wasn't a knock on by Cherry Evans. It was a knockback, so I'm happy
Evans
with the 4
didn't think
points.
He scored it.
This was fantastic play from Manly. I thought Melbourne, in terms of smarts in the game, had it all over Manly in the opening stanza, but Manly obviously thought about that one. Shows you what can happen without Billy Slater in the field. And then their second man play right on half-time. Dean Farray doing a great job to to drag Cooper Cronk and also Matt Duffy to the sideline and turn George Tafua down on the inside and open up that for a Manly try and their lead at half-time.
18 points to 12. The Twitter sphere is blowing up Deluxe about that Cherry Evans try. You say try. Obviously the fact that it was a benefit of the doubt try, they're ruling that it was played at by Ryan Hoffman. Brett Kumorley, did you think that from there on in, Daly Cherry Evans perhaps knocked it on?
No, I thought there was no benefit of the doubt. I think Hoffman knocked the ball clearly out of his hands.
Which would mean play on.
It then went backwards. There was a small fumble, but I'm 100% clear for that to be called green light try.
Okay, Melbourne Storm fans, we are not picking on you, but there are a couple of suspect tackles in this game that need scrutinising. This one from Cesar Vave.
Yeah, look, I think he's got some problems there, Vave. He definitely thought about what he was doing, came down on the top of Cherry Evans' head. It's a dangerous tackle. And I thought there was some intent there because he'd actually stopped himself, Vave, and thought about getting involved and coming over the top, and he did. And he went straight on Cherry Evans' neck. That's a dangerous tackle.
Okay, now they came into the game as favourites, Manly, and they will be even more favoured. But one thing to bear in mind, that the Melbourne Storm are the best second-half team in the competition. They've scored 206 points in the second half and conceded only 65. They're in this.
They are in it, yeah, for sure. And they're always going to fight for the full 80 minutes. They've got great character down there at the Melbourne Storm. But Manly went ahead at half-time. They've won 4 games from 4 occasions. So they're used to this position. I think you're starting to see the tide change a little bit there. When momentum swung back to Manly's way, they were very dominant. They played a lot of field position, and I think you'll see, again, a game of 2 halves in the second half.
Is there a twist in the tail in the Battle of Brookie 2? The Manly Seagulls will have to do it without Glenn Stewart, who will be in the dressing rooms tonight nursing what looks to be a knee injury. Plenty of intrigue on the other side of this on your sports leader, Fox Sports. Stay with us on Monday Night Football.
Beijing, after the gold medal game, I think I wanted to crawl up in a cave and just cry.
Lauren Jackson on that elusive gold medal. Profiles, Thursday, 8 p.m. on Fox Sports 2.
Hog's Breath's flamin' spectacular new menu. New Hoggetisers from $5.95. New Aussie prime rib. New backyard barbecue salad and salmon. Hog's Breath's new menu. Lunch and dinner, more your taste.
There are any number of reasons to sell your car. Old Reliable has become less so, or even a little thirsty. Or maybe we just deserve a new one. With more buyers than anywhere else, why would you sell your car any other way? Car sales.
TAB Sportsbet Market Update.
Jamie Rogers here from TAB Sportsbet. I hope you're enjoying tonight's clash between the Seagulls and the Storm. Don't forget you can still bet live on the result of the game as well as which player will score the last try. Check out all the live markets at tab.com.au, and to get on, give us a call on 133 390.
Get the edge over your rival. Gatorade Recover with protein to rebuild muscles. Part of the G Series from Gatorade.
Harvey Norman's massive half-yearly clearance is on now with 20 months interest-free on technology, entertainment and home appliances. That's no deposit, no interest and no repayments till February 2014. Prices slashed to clear. TVs, laptops, tablets, printers, phones, cameras, GPS, software and games. Fridges, washers, cooking, air conditioning and small appliances. Buy now and pay no deposit, no interest and no repayments till February 2014. Sensational half-yearly clearance bargains plus 20 months interest-free on technology, entertainment and home appliances at Harvey Norman. Get in store now.
Now, these aren't large tongs. This isn't a humongous knife. And this isn't a giant plate. Aha! The burgers are mini! Introducing Hungry Jack's Minis. Tasty little burgers that are so cute, they come in pairs. There's cheeseburger minis and rodeo minis. And right now, you can get a mini plus small fries and a small Coke for the mini price of $4.95. That's huge. Hungry Jack's makes it better.
Introducing all-new Orion V6. The most refined car we've ever built has arrived at your local Toyota dealer.
Hog's Breath's flamin' spectacular new menu. New Hoggetisers from $5.95. new Aussie prime rib, new backyard barbecue salad and salmon. Hog's Breath's new menu. Lunch and dinner, more your taste.
From a 12 points deficit, Manly have hit back 3 tries to take the lead. One to Daly Cherry Evans. The next one, a kick from Lyon for Brett Stewart. Try number 60 in his career here at Brookvale. And George Tafua gave them the 6-point lead at the break. We're coming back live for the second half here on Monday Night Football. Don't forget, after the game, NRL Extra with Matthew Johns, Mark Gasnier, Gordon Tallis and Ben Eichen tonight. That's immediately following our Man of the Match interview after the game here on Monday Night Football. Right now, let's go downstairs to Andy Raymond.
Just come out of the tunnel. No news on Glenn Stewart. All we know, left knee. He won't be back. I'll give you a report as soon as we know. The entire medical staff followed him into the room, in the dressing room. No one has emerged yet. I was in the tunnel. Glenn is in a ton of pain. Now, Jeff Tuvey, apart from the injury, he challenged his big men to dominate the metres and the ground, in particular to play the ball like they did late in that half. Craig Bellamy, animated. That's probably the nicest way to put it. No injuries to his side. He spoke of energy and urgency. He said, we built our lead with it. We can rebuild it. He also said, concentrate on the groundwork.
They like to do that, don't they? And that was a talking point at half-time with a tackle by Josiah Vave on Daly Cherry Evans, Anthony Watmoe. Well, he missed that tackle on Cameron Smith, but apart from that, an outstanding 40 minutes from the Manly back rower. Yeah, he's a good player, Watmoe. As we were discussing in that first 40 minutes, he loves getting involved. Leg speed late in the halves. Such an advantage when you're a forward to get in between tired defenders. This is shaping as a bruising encounter in the second 40. Gareth Widdop, fullback tonight. Manly with the restart to the second half, and it goes down to Cooper Cronk, who gives it off to Vave. We'll wait and see what the match review committee make of that tackle. We heard from our panel tonight, with Alexander in particular, so he does believe it was an unwarranted tackle by Vave on Cherry Evans. One of many talking points to come out of this game already. As they work it forward through Koss Jason. He'll play it just outside the 30. No Glenn Stewart. We saw a glimpse of him back in the dressing room after what looked to be that serious knee injury at the back end of the first half. And as soon as we have some sort of indication as to its severity, we'll bring that to you. Cooper Cronk working it up towards the halfway line. It will be Vave who gets to dummy half and puts it back for Cameron Smith. Look at a halves roll, last play of that set of 6. The kick goes down to Waldfield. And we'll run it out towards Ryan Hoffman, who makes the tackle. Touch of controversy about the Cherry Evans try. We thought no try. Brett Camorley and Greg Alexander thought try. There will also be spoken about the interpretation of when a player loses a ball if it is touched by an opposing player in the in-goal area. Video referees and the referees across the board need to get on the same page on that particular issue. Nullarbor playing it. Run by Lussick, who's stopping his run, perhaps getting a finger accidentally in the eye, perhaps now comes across to Tafua. Farray doesn't get the ball to the winger. He'll play it there 33 metres out from the Melbourne line. Foran puts it high in the air. Some pressure here on Widdop, who goes up and leaves the ground. And Cherry Evans makes the tackle. Here's Duffy working it away. Speaking of news on Glenn Stewart, let's go downstairs to Andy.
I've just spoken to the Manly medical staff, and this is initially what they're saying. They think it's a medial ligament, grade 1 or 2, which in probability means 3 or 4 weeks on the sideline. I can also say the first phone call that came through was from the New South Wales coach.
He'll be working the phones after this game, Ricky Stewart, no doubt. Find out exactly the extent of the damage to the knee of Glenn Stewart. Manu to play it for Melbourne. Cronk puts it high in the air. Wobbly kick, bouncing up as it turns out for Brett Stewart. A kind bounce right there. Could have gone anywhere. Now he links up with Jamie Lyon, who runs towards Anthony Quinn. And Quinn stops him about 25 out from the Manly line.
Geez, that was great transition by Jamie Lyon to get back there and help out his fullback. He was in the defence line, the kick went up, he got on his bike, got back there and became an option.
Here's King, playing it for Ballon. Dummy half, who joins up there with Nullavow, who brings it back to the halfway line. 3 minutes gone, no change to our half-time scoreline as Ballon chips one out of dummy half, and he judged it beautifully. Bounced about a metre in from the touchline, and Melbourne will have the scrum feed with about 12 out from their own goal line.
Yeah, it's been a very fast game. Even though they've had a 10-minute break at half-time, both sides could do with this, just walking to the scrum. Manly have certainly dominated possession in the back end of that 40 minutes, first 40 minutes.
A kick by Ballon. We mentioned earlier in the game that he's close to re-signing, it's believed, with Manly. On the radar of the Canberra Raiders, but they have said that, according to the management of Matt Ballon, that he won't be going to Canberra. And the Raiders are convinced that means he is staying here on the northern beaches with Manly, which is a great boost for them if that's the case, because it looked as though at one stage he'd be headed elsewhere, but the signings of Farah Williams, and most recently Lassick, with clubs other than Manly for 2013, which means there is room to keep Matt Ballon on the books. Melbourne back at the halfway line. Played here through Brian Norrie, Cameron Smith in there at dummy half. As Cronk goes in and away and comes across to Sikamanu, but stopped there by Bura and also Ballon. People coming to the right-hand side. Cronk putting one in behind them, taken by Tafua, set upon there by O'Neill. Get some help eventually from Matt Duffy, and they stop him just inside his own 20.
He's done everything asked of him tonight, young Tafua. He's been good with the ball in the air. But the ball's along the ground, he hasn't fumbled. When he runs the ball, he's a strong carrier of the football.
Looking at strong carriers, Lassick playing it for Ballon. Has that footwork. He's nimble and mobile and can offload as well in the collision. Ballon, a good run to take it across the halfway line. And they'll feed it back for Cherry Evans, kicking once again. Looking for the sideline. They won't mind that. Coming across. Widdop takes no chances with it. And Manly again force Melbourne to work it off their own line.
Yeah, different Manly in the second half. You remember in the first 40 minutes, the early couple of sets that they had, they were prepared to move the football and move Melbourne round, trying to expose them down the edges. But to start this second half, it's all about getting their hands on the football, getting over the advantage line, getting to their kick. And I think that would have been a point that Jeff Tuvey asked of his team at half-time. Build our way back into this contest.
Head in, Anthony. Head in. Hey, you're not even involved in it, so you don't have to get involved. Heads in. Just bend your back, Darcy. Darcy, bend. Get in. Ball in. Out.
This will be a penalty, you would think, against Manly. Darcy Lassick jumped out of the scrum. He never packed in and he was out of there. There was a word from Jared Maxwell to Tony Archer saying Lassick was too quickly out of the scrum. Despite that, decided to play on. Here's Kevin Proctor playing it. And a chance now in this second half. Smith going to Lowry. And a ball away in the tackle. Back to Varve, but he was nabbed immediately there and then bulldog to the ground. And guess who's on top of him? Anthony Watmo. Smith across Jason. A ball on the outside there for Hoffman. Well numbered up upon as well by Lussick and Lyon. And now Cronk from just inside his own half. Once again finds the turf. A habit of that tonight. In the grass between Stewart and his wingers, and as a result Stewart is wrapped up here just outside the 10. You get the impression that Melbourne just need a mistake from Manly or a big hit to force the ball loose and get a turnover. They've done pretty comfortably to begin this second half from their own end. Here's Bura. Tackled by Proctor and also Norrie. As Ballon waits, but Stewart pushing it into the field again. Foran looking to his outside though. They gone back to the inside. Stewart was there looking for a ball. Now Bura. plenty of involvements since coming off the bench. They've hit on the last, inside their own territory. Cherry Evans with a bit of cover. Absorbed the tackle there of Lowry after the kick. And Winnip it is who brings it back towards Foran and gets away from Ballon before Foran stays with him and makes the tackle.
Yeah, I know that Manly are talking about getting into the grind, but I still think they need to challenge the Melbourne Storm defence. Move them around a little bit. Getting them eating up some energy while they're defending.
Use up some energy here. A good ball from Anthony Quinn in the middle of the field. Came across for Hoffman to play it in Manly territory. Cost Jason goes to Lowry. King and his number, and he came out of the line pretty quickly. Joins in with the tackle to make sure that he goes to ground. At the 40, Smith comes a long way from dummy half. Cronk out the back. Widdop got away there from the tackle of Farah. He stuck with him though, and Foran came in to finish him off. They play it just outside the 30, and now Widdop gets up limping. Perhaps a leg injury coming out of that tackle. He's had ankle injuries in the past for Melbourne, and now Smith goes to Cronk. Cut-out ball. Cross to Nielsen. He'll put a kick in. Not a bad one either. Smith coming through. Got a play at it. Picked up. Diving in for Melbourne was Brian Norrie.
Grounding's okay. It's just the chaser coming through.
Did you say Brian Norrie, a front rower?
Brian Norrie.
What about his hands? Running the ball on last play. I think it was Dane Nielsen who kicked the football back infield. Cameron Smith's onside. You can see him next to Norrie there. Great skills from Cameron Smith. I think he was thinking kick it back for Nielsen to score, but instead the big front rower has picked it up, and if he grounds that, that's a try. And what hands by the big fella. That's outstanding.
Green lights for Melbourne, and Brian Norrie, who's done what David Taylor couldn't do in Origin 2 for Queensland. What a pickup and a dive by a big man who scores just the 5th try of his now 117-game career.
Yeah, it was great work by Brian Norrie, not giving up. And I know that Dane Nielsen kicked the ball back in infield, but really the reaction of the Manly players, other than Brett Stewart, wasn't one of any urgency. You know, when the ball's on the ground, when it's near your try line, you've got to fight for everything. And they didn't have enough men in the picture.
Here's the piece of luck, perhaps, that Melbourne were looking for, but still as well. Cameron Smith, just outside the uprights, makes it 18-all with half an hour remaining. What a 30 minutes of action it will be here tonight. Monday Night Football, Manly against Melbourne. So much talk about this game and the lead up to it. Much of it centering around the events of round 25 here last year. It's been fast, for the most part. It's been willing and clean as well. And 3 tries apiece has them locked up. These 2 impressive teams. Melbourne looking to extend their lead at the top of the ladder. Manly looking to jump perhaps as high as 4th. They could win tonight depending on their margin of victory. The try scorer Norrie playing. Cost Jason going to the line, and again they pick out Daly Cherry Evans. And watch Cost Jason go past him. Now Cronk from inside the 40. Good angle on the kick. It needs a roll. It'll bounce and sit up here for George Tafua. Cronk with a little more of a roll on that kick, and it was going to be a 40-20.
Yeah, they organised their sets so well after points, Melbourne. Little roll on kick, chase, tackle.
And he knew exactly where he was as well, Cooper Cronk. The length of his foot inside the 40-metre line, and couldn't strike it any better than that. Just a little bit more luck as King takes it up. He'll play it here, 15 on his own side of halfway. Ballon goes across to Lussick. Cherry Evans, cut-out ball and a chance for Lyon with a bit of room to move. He chips over the top. Oldfield coming through, but the ball beats everybody into touch.
Yeah, that was better play from Manly, though. Looking to go down the outside, getting around Manly. They were successful at doing it in the first 40. Started conservatively with the ball, building the way into the game. Jamie Lyon realised he was cornered, put it over the defence. Unfortunately for Manly, it rolls over the sideline. They'll fancy their chances, and there are chances there if they continue to shift.
Okay, Cameron. Slows and go there, bro.
Four and waiting in the back line defensively for Manly as Melbourne win the scrum. And they'll play it here through Matt Duffy at their own 20. Anthony Quinn. Quiet game as far as his carries are concerned. A couple of runs in this second half. Now Norrie. We'll be talking about that after the game, should they go on to win. Smith. Cronk again from inside the 40. This one not struck as well. A bit of hook on that one, taking it away from the sideline, but a kick early in the tackle gives Stewart a chance to link up there with Tafua. But they'll force Manly and that forward pack to get themselves back on side and work it away from their own territory once again. What do you make of that tactic?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. In a tough game, play the game down the other end. And by kicking early, you can isolate the fullback. It doesn't give him a chance if your chase gets down there fast enough to link with the wingers.
There's Buehler out of dummy half and bringing it back to the halfway line. They used up 4, but they get another set of 6 here. Jason Riles, fresh back on the field after his first stint at the opening of the game, gives away a penalty here on the 4th tackle, just hanging on too long to Buehler, who made sure the whistle blew by getting back to the turf, and Manly have a 5-2 advantage in the penalties.
He's very strong in his first efforts, Jason Riles, along with Jesse Bromwich. When they left the field, that's when Manly started to get their roll on. Here goes Joe Nullavout on the first play.
And they respond to the try by Melbourne. Ballon dummy half goes to Terry Evans out the back. And Nielsen came up quickly on Watmo. That left edge has done that all night and effectively as well. It's the right end of Melbourne's defensive line. It's under concerns for Craig Bellamy. Manly just outside the 10. And they play it through Nullavout. Down the short side, Terry Evans, a cut-out ball again for Lyon, who loses it in the tackle. He's almost hedging his bets, thinking about an offload. It came away from his grip, and a real let-off there for Melbourne.
Well, again, great left side defence from Melbourne. There was no hesitation. That's been the difference between Melbourne's left and right edge. When it hesitated, Manly have found space.
Just the one mistake in the second half from both teams combined as Proctor gets a chance back in the middle of the field. Manly upping the tempo defensively, getting off their line quickly here. They are again to meet Riles before, just as he gets past the advantage line there. Smith, dummy half, thinking about a 40-20 himself. He might have had his right foot on the red line, in fact. Would have nullified a kick that found the sideline inside the Manly 20. It didn't matter in the end because Stewart brings it back and plays it just outside the 30. Here's Oldfield. Subject to some rumour today that he might be on the move, perhaps to the Roosters. We may well be having Sam Perrott making a midweek transfer to the Bulldogs. Days ahead. Here's Tafua, taking it up towards the halfway line, standing in the tackle, getting away to Farrow, who fends away from Cronk. Duffy does a good job to stick with him and take him to ground at the halfway line. Buehler out of dummy half. Well, they thought there was a man in no man's land there. Bromwich it was who made the tackle. He was okay, said the referees. Vlasic looking for a fast play the ball. One more tackle here for Manly. Terry Evans puts it up. Into pressure again on Widdop at the back. Again he goes to the air. He's been flawless at the back tonight for Melbourne.
Yeah, he's been strong. It's a big part of the Melbourne Storm's game. Their back three, they handle the bomb so well. And it's a role change for Widdop tonight, playing as a one. better known as a 5'8". And that's a good run there by Justin O'Neill.
And trying to get to his feet, he was dragged down again by Bura, they'll say. There'll be a relieving penalty for Melbourne, and you get the impression they needed that at the moment.
Yeah, it's so important your outside backs recognise the situation. When your team's been under pressure and your forwards are struggling a little bit, you have to get in there and give your forwards a hand. And if you can get that roll-on started, get in between defenders, either get a quick play the ball or earn your team a penalty, it's a huge play in the context of a match.
Smith taps it. Melbourne go the attacking zone, and Bromwich it is, he'll play it. Smith waiting. Shows it to Riles before giving it to Lowry. He's back to Proctor. He straightens as he goes to Foran and also Farah. O'Neill waiting at dummy half. A run he made. Link up with Lowry for the first try tonight. A tip on there from Bromwich. Came across to Riles and suggesting it may have been forward. Now Smith. The time he has getting out of dummy half. Within arm's reach of him, but he just stood away from them, linked up, and he's there again at dummy half now as Hoffman plays it. Cronk turns it back to the inside for Bromwich. Tries to get away from Ballin's tackle. Had some help from King and probably needed it as well. Smith goes to Cronk on the last play. A chip out wide. Duffy is out there. He can leap, and he brings it down. And Melbourne have the lead once again. The attacking kicking of Cooper Cronk and the aerial ability of Matt Duffy.
Well, I think he's the best in the competition. Matt Duffy with the ball in the air. The Cooper Cronk kicking purposely for him, knowing that he could get over the top. And it's a well-weighted kick. And watch him here. He just rises above the pack, brings it down. Very rarely do you see Matt Duffy make an error when the ball is in the air. And it's been a big comeback from Melbourne. They were down by 6 at half-time. They've scored the opening 2 tries of this second half. And again, you talk about momentum plays and momentum swings in a contest. A dummy half run from Justin O'Neill. Earn his team a penalty. They get up the other end and they post points. It's massive. Little efforts like that in a game of football.
It's been all Melbourne in the point scoring in this second half, and they've been exceptional in the second halves of games this season, scoring before this game tonight 206 points while conceding just 65. And that is easily the best in the NRL in both categories. And they've added 10 here so far. Cameron Smith a chance to make it 12. For a converted try lead. And just on a quarter of this game remaining on Monday Night Football. Been tremendous again tonight, hasn't he? Backing up from Origin, as is Cooper Cronk for the Melbourne Storm. The strike, it's a beauty. It splits the uprights, and Cameron Smith makes it 24-18 with just on 20 minutes remaining. And the precision and the kicking game of Cooper Cronk on display for everybody to see again here tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, regardless of the result tonight, you have to admire Craig Bellamy, the way that he's been able to instill the culture and the mentality of never giving up in this Melbourne Storm team. I mean, they do it so often. They can be down and out, and yet they hit back.
Short restart by Manly, not struck all that well by Cherry Evans, and as a result Riles has it here at the 20-metre line. Now Lowry charging hard, met there by Kite, and also Bura jamming in to make the tackle on him. So if they think about a 40-20, the tackles ahead here, they've used up 3 and they're just outside their 30. Midfield, and Cronk waiting on the right-hand side. Ball back on the inside for Widdop, the outside-inside play. The line that Billy Slater normally runs. They were sweating on Widdop, though. George Rose locked that hole. No one uncertain terms, and now Cronk, a short ball there from Smith. They'll get a fast play of the ball, though. It means there's time for Smith, whose kick might have been touched by a Manly player there. He certainly didn't strike it cleanly. And now Tafua slipping over, getting back to his feet. And he'll play it 5 out from his own line.
Geez, that was a good set of 6 there by Melbourne. It was a slow play the ball, so instead of going to an edge when they're going to ram up into your face, they played back to the middle and attacked the marker, not getting forward quickly enough. It was a fast play the ball. Smith gets to his kick. Smart play.
Here's Michael Oldfield to play it. Slow play the ball. Here's King running up towards Hoffman and also Riles. They've used up 4 plays, Manly, and just outside their own 20. He did a good carry right there, and they got one from a veteran. And Brent Kite, who put his hand up, gave us some territory and a bit of room here for Cherry Evans as a result to get a kick in. But he lofts it down the middle of the field, and it's Widdop who will bring it back. And Melbourne, with their noses in front now, are winning the battle of field position at the moment. Widdop at the 4th. Quinn takes it across the red line. And for win number 12 already this season in just round 15 of Melbourne. Nielsen, good run. Picked up some big metres there. Still have 3 plays left in this set as Cronk works it through the forwards down the middle. It comes to Widdop, and now they're going to say there was an obstruction with Jason Riles getting ahead of the play.
Riles coming through,
blocking
he ran right
a Manly defender.
Gave the defender no opportunity to make
well,
that.
Here we go. Jason Riles coming through. Makes contact with Matt Ballon.
I've told you the explanation.
That's interesting because there was a defender between the man who was obstructed as such by Riles and the hole that Widdop went through, and that in try-scoring situations most recently has been play on the attacking team when the video referee has looked at it, and invariably in that situation they've ruled a try.
I'd have to look at it again.
So a break for Manly. Here is Rose going towards the 20. He'll play it with Manly storming back down the field. Bura held up here, dumping it out the back. Tap backwards by Ballon. He gives it to Cherry Evans. He goes to the edge immediately. Kite is out there. He'll take the tackle. They've used up 3. They're 20 metres out from the Melbourne line. Here's Cherry Evans staying alive. Giving it to Rose. Good hands from the big fella. 5 metres away. Ballon looking to the right-hand side. He goes to Cherry Evans. Quinn came up. He didn't get to the man with the ball, which is Oldfield. It went past Lyon, and they came again through cost Jason to stop him. Last tackle, Cherry Evans, grubbering, an awkward one. Well handled in the end by Cooper Cronk.
Oh, geez, that's great work from Melbourne. They scrambled so well. Jason King ripping into Todd Lowry with a beauty.
He came in and absolutely crunched him. And Lowry, as a result, unsurprisingly, needs some attention here. King looking to up the tempo defensively. Came in and put a real shot on the man who was going to fight his way through the tackle there of Bura. Bit of contact perhaps above the shoulders there by King.
Well, I think there was contact made. We saw early in the season with the Frankie Pritchard tackle. Talking about defenders not making any contact at all with the man carrying the football.
And the video referee Paul Simpkins has been involved already tonight. They have a call to make here. 12,106 the crowd. A few more than that the way they came in after the kickoff. Now he's still unwell, but back on his feet.
On report.
And it will be a penalty against the Seagulls, and Jason King placed on report.
Yeah, look, there's some contact there, but I don't think he'll have too much to worry about. And trying to inspire his team. We've seen it in the past, Manly, when they've been under the pump to get themselves back into the game. They rely on the intensity to pick up in their defence. And Jason King, the co-captain, trying to lead from the front.
And it's a free interchange here with Lowry going off the field.
Hasn't he made the decision to tackle him there?
Oh, mate, he may have. But all I can look at is the contest, the contact, Riles there. We'll just get out.
Cameron Smith still asking the question about the obstruction call, which led to the changeover of possession, and Melbourne being under pressure inside their own 20. Despite the penalty given away for the contact there by Jason King, you can rest assured that Manly won't drop off the intensity here with their intent in their defence of these next few sets of 6. And it's Watmo. No surprise there that he's up there leading the charge. He drags Hoffman back from where he came. Smith feeds it for Riles. King is there. So is George Rose. And Riles, a good run to take it beyond the floor. Hinchcliffe. He's the player who came on for Lowry in that free interchange off the back of King being placed on report. Cronk. Behind Bromwich. Goes back to Widdop again. Similar play to the one that led to the penalty. Obstruction this time around as Smith goes past Riles to give it to Bromwich. And they work it down within 30 of the Manly line. Foran coming in around the legs. Doesn't drag him to ground. That's a good thing as well. It might have been a penalty had he done so. Cronk kicking back out towards Nielsen and Duffy. Nielsen came down with it, but he was a metre short of the line.
Wow, how high did he get?
Where you go?
Justin O'Neill. What a take. For nothing.
Duffy and Nielsen, they could dunk a basketball on the free throw line. The way they can get to the air. An offensive threat on this right-hand side. Watmo down the right-hand side for Manly. They've used up 3 plays and they're still just at their own 20. It's King. A couple of good charges here and a fast play the ball off the back of this next tackle. Ballin will go to Foran. Gives it to Rose. Towards the middle of the field. He'll slip over and it won't be a fast play the ball as a result. Ballin, there'll be some pressure here on Cherry Evans. Smith getting out from marker. The man applying the pressure, and as a result, it wasn't a deep kick, but the bounce was a kind one for Manly, and Quinn had to wait for it. It bobbled around in front of him, and now he thinks about offloading.
Well, we talk about
he's taken to ground there by Lyon and Oldfield.
Sorry, Woz. We talk about Cameron Smith and his ability out of dummy half, but watch his kick pressure on 5th tackle. He's the best in the game at it.
Here's Coss Jason advertising a dummy half for Smith for the moment. And then Hinchcliffe and something with a chance there in between Rose and Bura. They keep it going to the right-hand side. Proctor, good hands by Nielsen to hang on to the pass at close range. It was coming at him at pace. Cronk kicking from the halfway line again. He finds the turf. How many times have we said that tonight? With his kicking game when he's needed to kick for distance. Well, Oldfield has it. Manly, still plenty of time, 12 and a half minutes remaining. It's a slow play, the ball. Vargo involved there with Cronk. Bromwich is up in the face here of Harrison with Proctor. Giving a ball away to Tafua. A lovely pass by the front rower. He runs towards Widdop. Duffy getting back in support defensively. And he stopped the pass going back on the inside to Farah. But they're back on the attack. Here's Cherry Evans going back to the short side. Duffy, an intercept, has Kite in front of him. Kite slipped over. Bura is chasing. Duffy takes the tackle and he saved the day there for Melbourne.
What a play from Matt Duffy, and now Jamie Bura. Has he given away a penalty from dummy half? I think he has.
Never straight.
For Marcus, sorry.
Never straight.
He was never straight. What a play from Matt Duffy. Manly looking as though they were going to score. Tafua getting away in a one-on-one situation with Widdop. A lovely tackle from Garrett Widdop. Play the ball. Cherry Evans going back the short side. And Matt Duffy intercept. And puts the Storm
up here, mate.
On the attack.
Come on here, boys. On the run.
And gives them a chance to score.
Oh, massive set of 6 here.
Make it very tough on Manly. You're right, Laurie, it's a huge one for the home side here tonight. Trailing by 6. Varve works it inside the 20. What have they got? It's the big 2 and not the big 3 tonight. Widdop has played like he's a member of the big 3, hasn't he, at fullback? Bromwich, a terrific run. Takes it down within 3. Smith looking to the short side. Cost Jason and Hoffman are there. And he comes back to the open. Varve posts it up. Gives it to Cronk, who stops on his run because he was in behind Proctor. And we're going to say there was no obstruction to Manly. 4 plays got. Smith goes across Jason to the line. Watmo missed him. Hoffman was dragged out of it before the ball came to him.
No way, no. He didn't. No.
Well, what did he do? Well, it's a penalty to Melbourne, and they will have the shot at goal.
I've waited for all of you guys pulling the player back. That's it. I'm not talking about that.
It was Ryan Hoffman who was pulled out of the attack by Jamie Lyon. Cost Jason digging into the line. There you can see Jamie Lyon having hold of Ryan Hoffman's left arm. Surely they have the shot at goal here, Melbourne.
What are you doing?
There's a committee meeting, and eventually Cameron Smith, in consultation with Cooper Cronk, says, "I'll have the attempt at 2, please."
I was thinking there for a while, their confidence levels must have been extremely high.
It looked as though
tap and go.
You're right. They were going to tap it and have a crack at them and go for 6 and not 2.
Well, it's a big penalty. It's a correct penalty. And now it's a big kick from Cameron Smith.
Well, he's hit them well tonight. 4 from 4 with the boot. A couple of easy ones from right in front. Not an easy one, this one, though, with so much pressure on it. Inside the final 10 we go. The kick about 16 in from the touchline and on the wrong side, if you like, for a left-footed kicker. The ball hooking across the face. But he's a master. Controls the flight and the shape so well. And we'll be backing him in from here to make it an 8-point game. He hits it well. He holds it up with a bit of fade as well to make sure of it. And it's 26 points to 18, just on 9 minutes to go.
Didn't look like missing that kick, did it? Under pressure, just slotted it over. We've got 9 minutes to hang on, and now Manly are 8 behind.
Stay behind!
When they get possession back, they will challenge.
They've pulled off a couple of good wins at the death so far this season. The highlight of their win against the Broncos. And now Duffy again. Look at him go. He'll need oxygen if he keeps getting up that high. Running to Buehler. They gambled on the short kickoff and lost the Sea Eagles. And they'll need to be as good as they were back in round 10 against the Broncos to win this one tonight. An offload for Widdop, who's there ever present, just as Slater normally is. Smith getting knocked over. Just remains composed. Appeals for a penalty and says, I've still got plenty of time to give it off, and Cronk it is who'll play it. Surging forward. Stopped there by Harrison and also Kites. One more tackle. He goes to the short side. Tipping it for the in-goal. Looking for a repeat set, but it wasn't deep enough to trap Oldfield in the in-goal area. They've got the next best thing. Manly camped 5 out from their own lines. Lyon takes it forward.
And coming out of the corner. He's too smart, Cameron Smith.
They go wide, Manly. They need to now. A shift from Buehler to Fua. Has Farley on his outside. He comes to Nielsen, who will stop him. Still going, though, is to Fua. Now the call of held. They've used up 3 plays, but they're almost back at the halfway line. Buehler it is. Running to Smith and Hinchcliffe. So a stack of time here for Manly. They need to score twice. Harrison goes to Cherry Evans. Shows it to Watmo. Comes to Lyon. Ball back to Cherry Evans. He's under pressure. He keeps the line. Gives it to Oldfield. There's half a chance there with Quinn infield trying to make the tackle and shut down the play. Oldfield will have it. He's concerned for Cherry Evans behind the play. Now Lyon kicking down the narrowest of short sides, and it will somehow, eventually, go touch in goal and not find touch. Cherry Evans is back on his feet, and that's a good sign. If you missed the news earlier, in the first half towards the back end of it, Glenn Stewart suffering a knee injury. uncertain as to the severity of it. It didn't look good. And his participation in Game 3 of the Origin Series for New South Wales very much in doubt.
Yeah, fingers crossed that's not too serious. There's 2 or 16 days to go before State of Origin 3.
Melbourne playing it, in control of this game.
He's been enormous tonight too, Jesse Bromwich.
Been terrific. 18 tackles, 17 carries of the ball, though, as Hoffman almost gets away there from the tackle of Ballon, who's made 40 himself. And now Smith running a long way, but he saw the frame of Kite loom up in his windscreen, and he put the brakes on pretty quickly. Hinchcliffe comes across to Cronk. Danger again with Nielsen out here, and also Duffy will fall and almost tackled Dane Nielsen.
Knock on Melbourne, hand over.
They're going to say,
Manly ball.
Fortunately for Manly, that there was no interference, and it was a knock-on by Melbourne before him.
Just relax.
Well, he almost smudged Dane Nielsen.
I thought there was interference there for sure. In Melbourne, when they kick the football, they look for Duffy, don't they? And O'Neill. Both very good.
Watmo playing it. Mura searching out from dummy half. They'll take a chance now from deep inside their own territory. Cherry Evans gives it to Nullavow. Good run from the back rower, who will play it 15 on his own side of halfway. Ballon comes to 4 and out the back for Brett Stewart. He links up with Farah. Here they come again down this left-hand side to Fuller. Plenty of metres on this left wing tonight. He plays it at the 40. And they've still got 2 plays left. Harrison, Cherry Evans goes to Nullavow. Steps, stops, starts and goes again. Gives it to Lyon. He puts the foot down. Something happening off the shoulder of Varbe. Not played at. Spun by Ballon. What a kick by Watmo to keep it alive. It comes to Cherry Evans. Now he grubbers. A chance for Tafua. Good hands. He fires it back on the inside. Farah, Cherry Evans. They've got them shot. Cherry Evans, though, puts a kick in. And Smith, who else, comes up with it for Melbourne.
Melbourne Storm, their scramble defence is second to none. They have their line broken, but it's the way that they get back there and defend as though their life depends on it. You know, Cameron Smith plucking that ball out of the air. And it's a big play, massive plays, and they seem to do it better than anyone else.
Well, they put it through the hands, but it came back to Cherry Evans. It looked a big chance on the right-hand side. Now Lowry. Melbourne go to their right. O'Neill ducking under the tackle there. You'll play it just outside the Manly 40. 3.5 remaining. The clock very much the enemy now of the Sea Eagles. Norrie playing it, 30 away. Smith hurrying to dummy half. Cronk, he puts it up. Chance out wide for Quinn. Up against Oldfield. There are some leapers here tonight.
Outstanding, Michael Oldfield. He's had a good game, though, for the Melbourne Storm. Dane Nielsen defensively, hasn't he? He shut down a lot of that right side attack from Manly, which is so dangerous. And I know they lost Glenn Stewart early in the piece, but he's been terrific. O'Neill and Duffy on this side. And Phil's Manly keep the ball alive.
Brent Carter, basketball pass, gives it to 4 and back on the inside for Farah, who can scoot, but he's wrapped up. Trailing back was Brian Norrie. They're at the halfway line. 3 plays, and they almost have to score at the back end of this possession. Here's Nullavow going to O'Neill. 4 tackles gone, and they're still 40 metres away from the line. Forward with the numbers on this left-hand side. Chips over the top. Harrison was taken to ground. Duffy cleans up for Melbourne. We'll wait and see if there's a call. If there was going to be, there would have been by now. So Duffy brings it back. And they're going to say the contact with Harrison was okay. There's a knock-on. A knock-on by Matt Duffy in the tackle of Jamie Lyon. And they will rush to pack the scrum and stop the clock with just over 2 minutes remaining.
Well, it gives Manly some hope. Just over 2 minutes.
Oh, Brent Kite didn't realise he had to put his head in the scrum to stop the clock. He put his head in. It was time blown off. Then he stood up immediately, and Jared Maxwell correctly signalled time back on. And they go to waste 20 to 25 seconds here, maybe more, by the time they get the ball back. imagine what was going through Brent Kite's mind right there. Bura on the back of the scrunch, gives it to Cherry Evans. Tries to get away from the defence there of Kosh Jason. They came in numbers and it was Riles who wrapped him up. Just outside the 20. Here is Kite. Running it forward, spinning in the tackle. No offload coming. It was Norrie across the top who made sure of that. Ballon to Foran. Here is Farah going to the line, giving it to Tafua. Good tackle by Duffy. 3 metres away, 3 tackles left. From Foran, it goes to Bura. At the back for Ballon. They had numbers to the right but couldn't get it there. Harrison was there screaming for it. Watmo to dummy half. Play number 5. He gives it to Nullival. Back towards the short side. Going to Kosh Jason and also Riles, and they'll stop him there. Last chance right here for Manly. Kite. He gives it quickly. Foran. A ball. Stewart. Farah. Got away from Duffy. He will score for Manly. They might decline to take the kick. 30 seconds remaining. It's 26-22. Jamie Lyon coming across, looking at the scoreboard, realises even if he declines to take the kick with so few seconds remaining, Melbourne will eat the time up in coming out for the kickoff. And the Storm are going to survive here tonight and come up with a big, big victory at Brookvale Oval.
Well, they kept the ball alive. They were chasing points, Manly. Great hands under pressure. And Vare was able to go over and score. It was all too late for Manly. What a performance by the Melbourne Storm. Down by 6 at half-time. Flying, looking to convert. He misses. And that's an outstanding performance from the Melbourne Storm. It's a difficult place to come and play football here at Brookvale Oval.
They'll be pretty pumped about it, won't they? A smile on the face of Cameron Smith. What a game he had. Started in the halves, finished up at dummy half with Kosh Jason playing in the halves on the left-hand side of the field. He was in absolutely everything, 35 tackles, and just the way he controls the game, it's to be marvelled at.
Well, he can control the game as a half. He can control the game from the acting half position. His just selection of play is, there's none better. You know, he just sums it up so quickly. He sees what's happening in the defensive line. He plays with time. You know, he scored that try in the first half. It's just a show and a go, digged into the line, got past Anthony Watmo, who's a noted defender. But he's just control. He looks composed. He and Cooper Cronk just steer this ship. They've got brilliance in the outside backs, but I thought their forwards tonight were terrific. In particular, Riles and Bromwich early and in their second stints.
Well, they were very good. Let's go downstairs right now to Andy Raymond.
With a pretty happy Cooper Cronk, 4 tries all, 4 points the difference, but you did it tough.
Yeah, very much so. It's a tough place to come play footy, and we spoke about making progress and stepping forward during this orange period, and I think we've done that. I mean, there's still a bit to go, but at least we're getting the foundations and processes right.
You missed your little mate. Everyone is going to. Billy Slater's such a rare talent, but gee, Gareth Widdop at the back was excellent.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Bill does some special things on a football field that not too many other players can do. But best thing about this footy club is we've got structures that we stick to, and no matter your skill or ability you bring to the football team, there's still structures that you play with, and hopefully we can do that right.
Cameron Smith starting in the halves. He just loves it, doesn't he? Look out, he's after a jersey.
Might be a permanent thing. He started pretty good there, and obviously his left foot down at left-hand side and a little show and go and scored a points too. So he's a versatile player. He's good to have in our footy team.
So much of a build-up to tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's a difficult place, and the NRL is a very tough competition. This is one of the toughest venues to come and play football. So I'm glad we've played well, and look forward to the weeks coming.
How's the body?
It's good, mate. Ready to go again.
Excellent. Well done, Coop.
Thank you, mate. Thanks, Andy.
Coming on in is Matty Ballon. He's here somewhere. Tough night, but plenty of positives to come out of it.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Andy, it was very disappointing. We started slow, then we fought back into it, then we sort of fell back into a hole again. So yeah, a bit disappointing.
It's that groundwork. It's where Melbourne is so good, and that's where the momentum was all night long. When you guys dominated the ground, you dominated points.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big part of the game. The wrestle these days, and they do it well. So we'll have to go away this week and work hard because the Roosters are quite physical too.
it's a smack in the gob, isn't it, when you see a bloke and a mate like Glenn Stewart taken from the field in all sorts?
Yeah, it's very disappointing for Glenn and the team, you know, so hopefully he's not too bad and he can get back soon.
Well done.
Thanks, Andy.
Matty Ballon there with Andy Raymond. What a game. We were talking about it for some weeks in the lead up to it, and it certainly lived up to the hype. Melbourne, that's a huge victory to come here to Brookvale and get away with 2 points. Only the second time since the beginning of last season that Manly have gone down on their own turf.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive, you know, coming here with no Billy Slater. Plenty of people were prepared to say that they couldn't win against this Manly side, who are, you know, virtually unbackable when they play at Brookvale Oval. They were ruthless tonight. I thought they showed some terrific signs. They started terrifically well. They got away to a 12-point lead. Then they allowed Manly back into the game, and they went in the sheds at half-time. But the way that they come out and approach their game, they dominate in the wrestle. They hit and stick in defence. They move the football. Their outside backs, I thought, were terrific. They made some really good choices in defence because Manly threw a lot at them. And their outside backs stood tall, you know, and that was a terrific victory. I'm sure Craig Bellamy would be particularly proud of their performance tonight.
No question about that. Let's find out who is our Harvey Norman man of the match right now, once again with Andy.
$1,000 gift voucher from Harvey Norman goes to the birthday boy, Cameron Smith. That's a way to celebrate in style.
Yeah, it's a good win by the boys here tonight. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to come here to Brookie at the best of times, Andy, and get a win. But yeah, it was a very tough effort by the boys, particularly in the second 40 to come back there and get on top of them. Very pleasing win.
12-0. What happened?
Oh, I think just defensively, we just took our foot off the pedal, mate. We just let them get cheap meters up the middle, and instead of going up and meeting them with our defensive line, we were just sitting on our heels, and yeah, they had a lot of momentum. So yeah, Craig had a fair bit to say about that in the sheds at half time. But the boys, as I said, responded really well in that second 40 and finished strongly. Yourself and Cooper backing up from Origin, 5-day break, body nice and weary. Yeah, it'd be nice to get in the tub tonight, I can tell you, but probably preferred the bigger break. You know, last time we backed up 2 days later against the Broncos, and I felt pretty ordinary that night, but I was okay tonight. Got a bit of time in the pool and in the hot and cold, so come out and had a good win. Crucial time of year for all sides, isn't it? When the key players are missing, there's buys, there's half rounds. Yeah, it's a really important time for every club in the NRL, and it's a pretty tough schedule. We've got to travel to Mackay now from this game, and we're playing on Sunday afternoon, so it's going to be nice and warm. And then we get the break, the bye. So crucial to go up there and play well against the Bulldogs, and hopefully get the 2